The saying goes that dreamers live with their heads in the clouds. For some, this is especially true. Dreaming of living a life less ordinary, one that inspires people to chase their dreams by showing what hard work and dedication can accomplish. When pursuing his dream, in the clouds is exactly where his head needs to be.
I started flying when I was young because my dad's a pilot too. I love all flying, but even as a little kid, freestyle flying had my heart. My dad recognized my passion and was super supportive. He's the one that taught me to do aerobatics. I've always enjoyed doing aerobatics, but it was when I heard the legend of an old Italian painter that I knew what I had to do.
The legend goes that the Pope was looking to commission a painter and requested works of art from each artist being considered. When the messenger came to collect from an artist named Giordano, it said he dipped his brush in red paint and scribed a perfect circle on an otherwise blank canvas. He gave this to the messenger and said something like, "If my work is understood, I trust I'll get the job." The messenger must have thought this guy was crazy, but when the painting was delivered, the Pope could not believe that such perfection could be done freehand.
Art is the greatest form of self-expression, but the trouble with trying to inspire people through art is that it's subjective. Perfection, like Giotto's perfect circle, is universal. For me, it's not his single act of perfection, but his devotion to his passion that inspires. Looping a hang glider is my perfect circle. The mechanics of a loop are simple. Dive to pick up speed, then use that speed to climb upside down and around the top of the loop. A perfect loop, however, is more complex. It requires carving a constant arc, which is both difficult and dangerous. Entering the loop uses speed to climb and slows me down. Following a constant arc while slowing down means very little G-loading over the top. Those positive G's keep me in my harness and keep me from falling into the glider. Hang gliders are controlled entirely by weight shift, so getting too lightly loaded over the top means losing all control. The perfect loop isn't just perfectly round. It's also huge in diameter. Doing the biggest loops possible requires entering at speeds over 100 miles per hour. And that's a big risk too, because even though hang gliders are tested and certified to be strong and stable, this brings me way outside of the tested limits. The glider just isn't meant to do these things.
When we're talking about hang gliders, the typical maneuvering speed, the speed at which maximum application of controls is allowed, is 46 miles an hour. When we're talking about aerobatics and hang gliders, we're talking about speeds that are typically well over 60 miles an hour, sometimes over 70 or 80 miles an hour, sometimes as high as 117 miles an hour.
History has shown that even the most experienced and accomplished aerobatic pilots in the history of the sport have all miscalculated those capabilities and have all had structural failures, and the lucky ones have, managed to continue flying, and others have been fatally injured.
That sort of operation is grossly outside of what the aircraft has been tested to.
You're going to be flying 1 minute and falling in shards of carbon fiber the next, and that's just going to happen that fast.
The margins are way, way too small. If everything is done perfectly and no mistakes are made, then it's been shown that you can perform aerobatics in a modern flex-wing hang glider. But the allowance for mistakes and the ability of the aircraft to recover if you make that mistake, that is extremely limited. And therefore, aerobatics in flex-wing hang gliders is extremely unforgiving.
Having a daughter complicates this journey because I have a family depending on me. But I also get to see the world through a child's eyes every day. She's so curious and finds wonder all around her. It's beautiful, and it inspires me even more. I lay awake at night dreaming of the perfect loop. I see perfect circles all around me. It's not that looping isn't scary, but living a life absent of dreams or passion scares me more.
This isn't actually a story about a perfect circle. It's an example of how passion can accomplish something extraordinary. It's about how the fear of failure should not stop you, but should drive you. And it should never be about cheating death, but about accepting the danger that is truly living. It's about living inspired.